Iroquois Park Sports Centre here in Whitby, Ontario is the site of the Ontario Lacrosse Festival. For this week, tonight though, it is the Junior A Stars of the Whitby Warriors and the St. Catharines Athletics and the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League final that takes to the floor here for game number 2. I'm Matthew Carrick alongside Lucas Arger, getting set for this one. 3-1 after the first period for Whitby in game 1 in St. Catharines, Lucas, but it ended 7-4 for the Athletics on home floor, but now we switch here to Whitby.
Definitely. Dan Coates told us pre-game the compete level was there in the second and third periods. Head coach for the Whitby Warriors, Phil Weatherup, saying they just executed better, and that's what we need to do here tonight. Obviously, the Athletics coming in here with the game 1 victory, but Phil Weatherup said it's hard to win in this building if you're an opponent. He feels his team plays their best here when they're on home floor, so it should be a good one here tonight, and it's always better when it's a full barn here, courtesy of the Ontario Lacrosse Festival.
I was just about to say, especially this week, said there's excitement, there's a lot of energy, and there's definitely atmosphere here in this building. Not quite every seat taken, not just yet, but about standing room only around the glass and the rails above the main pad here at IPSC. Games going all day on all pads and all eyes now here on the main one as the face-off is taken to get game 2 underway. Aiden Erbach for Whitby, Sutter Pelon, they're going to battle all night at the dot. Double blue uniforms off the visitors bench for Dan Coates. Ball kicked down in front of the home bench, where Phil Weatherup is hoping his boys in their white uniforms, red letters and blue buckets, can even up this best of 7 series. Bryson Lamoureux out here to Matt Suter, who scored 2 of the 4 goals. Outside try there from Blake Mason. In on Ty Wilson, who gets the start. It was 4 goals off 48 shots for Whitby in game number 1. Brother Cooper picking up the loss, 7 goals off 54 shots, as the Wilson brothers went head-to-head, as they will throughout this series. Jamison Bucktooth's shot rises over top of the net, has room to shoot, fires and scores! Bucktooth kind of surprised with the amount of space he had in the slot, and he'll make it 1-0.
A little bit of a broken play here, as it was his initial shot that kind of whistled wide, and then he just cuts to the middle, takes that pass, and I'm not sure if Cooper Wilson expected him to shoot, but 1 goal off 1 shot, and the Athletics are on the board early.
I'm sure they'll take that. Both teams saying they wanted to start early. Jamison Bucktooth, 2 goals, 1 assist in the game 1 win. And Ari Steinhaus also scoring. Lucas Rozon and others, as we'll get to throughout tonight's game. Bucktooth, 1 minute and 3 seconds in from Arrow Booth. And Lucas Rozon. Trent Meridian over the top, passes to Zachary Toll, who played his minor in this area, as did Ty Wilson. Tried to find a cutting Isaiah Paul in front of the crease. Didn't get it to the goal. Ball down. Picked up and over center, Ryan Proctor. Max Weatherup far side. Trayson Stewart missed a couple games in the semifinal before coming back in. Here's Matthew Ford. Missed the entire deal, as now Suter to the front of the net. Went airborne, loose ball. Ford can just only shoot it wide of the net. What was the number? 23 days, I think, as this pass will get away from the Athletics. Ford was out of the lineup before coming back in game number 1.
It was a long time that Ford was out due to injury, and thankfully his team has made it here this far, and he returns to the lineup. Only had 1 assist on Saturday night in his return. I think he's hoping for at least a goal and an assist here in his home barn.
Blake Mason will pass it back up top for Max Weatherup. Over to the far side to Ford. He'll get a step on his man to the crease and off the crossbar as it bounces back out. Weatherup there to get the reset. Having to deal with Jack Wynarski. Trade deadline acquisition for this St. Catharines team, as they loaded up, including Lucas Billing, who's been demoted to DJ role Straight down Main Street was Bryson Lamoureux, and it goes off the shoulder of Ty Wilson.
Great look on the offense right there as Lamoureux had a clear lane to the net, just maybe threw one too many fakes. And Wilson makes that save. Here's Bucktooth with it, and that's going to be a moving pick that I believe was set by Rozon. And funny enough, Rozon's number 22. He's got 22 goals and 22 assists in these playoffs.
Oh, make a wish. Here's another one. Suter for the other side. No changes for either team, by the way, from the rosters that marched out in game number 1. Ducking under, Matthew Ford took his own man. Momentum into the outside boards. Shot wide. Mason picks it up behind the net. Back in Ford's direction. Sidearm shot. Wilson going to keep it in his crease. Bouncer back in the direction of Ari Steenhouse, one of 2 NLL players already on this roster. Steenhouse for the San Diego Seals. Jamison Bucktooth, the Colorado Mammoth. Back up here, Paul. Towards the crease and jumping in that direction with Rozon. Called on the violation. 1-0 early from Jamison Bucktooth. Just a couple goals shy of 60 in the regular season for Bucktooth. Outside rip, Lamoureux. Off Wilson, into the corner. And picked up here by Suter. Up on his toes, Monders. That's Cam Monders following. Bryson Lamoureux across to Tracy Stewart. He'll go one-on-one with Levi Roast. Now they switch, putting Reef Steenhouse up top. Moving screen, knocked down Jared Cook. And the ball will go to his Athletics.
Right idea from Reese Hunick there to try and free up Weatherup. Just a little too much on the back.
Out from the corner. Brief look in the direction of Meridian. Now up top for Paul. Wheeled away from his man. Meridian gets it back again. Now with only 6 to shoot. It'll go to Zachary Toll. Low shot skips into Cooper Wilson. His uncle came by to say hello before we went live and said, I'm cheering for the home team in all these games, with brothers Ty and Cooper going head-to-head between the pipes. As an outside shot goes 5-hole.
Bryson Lamoureux has had to step up in a big role with Ford out of the lineup in these playoffs, and he comes to play here and shows it. Takes the swing pass from Proctor, and I love what Blake Mason does. Seals his man off. In fact, that's number 93, Artie Steenhouse right there, that doesn't allow him to step up, and Lamoureux lets that one go essentially from the restraining line. But both Wilsons have given up a goal, both 5-hole. We'll start with visitors. Coming into this game, Ty Wilson, 9-2 record, 673 GAA, 852 save percentage. His younger brother Cooper, 8-2 record, 604 GAA with an 844 save percentage. So the difference, Ty has one more win, Cooper has the lower GAA, and their save percentages are almost identical between 852 and 844.
I mean, you go down the list between the two goaltenders, not much to split hairs about. Transition, not much to split hairs about. Defense, face-off guys. Offense, this is going to be about as even a series as we've seen in the Ontario Finals. Second year in a row that Whitby is here. Missed out in overtime in game number 6 in this building to Orangeville last year.
Liam Matthews scored the game winner in that one, and we had a great series a year ago. We're expecting the same one here in 2026.
Matthew Ford pushed out wide into the corner, pulls it back down. Monders near side, unable to work his way down to the crease. Good checking there by Levi Roast. Eventually, Monders did get the shot away, beat the shot clock, picked up again by Suter and the Warriors.
Nice idea from Monders to go underneath and gets the shot off, and then well done by Suter to track down that rebound.
Here's Weatherup inside the restraining line, going to take it all the way through. Shot goes off a St. Catharines defender and up out of play, and they're immediately going to work on Stewart and get a warning from Kyle Kropman. Him, Brendan Hesson, and Andrew Ecclestone, a veteran NLL crew tonight for this OJLL final. Arm goes high from the trail man, Trotman. Ball out of the stick of Monders, who's got a few extra chops for Jared Cook. It was Monders drawing the penalty back at the restraining line, a hold. First one of the night coming here to the Athletics.
It's not the wrong idea from Roast. As you can see, he kind of gets picked a little bit from Weather Up, and his stick was already coming up, and then it just fell into that space right between the top of the shoulder cap and the neck. And when the stick rests right there, it's very easy for the officials to call it. And you said it, a veteran NLL officiating crew, they've called that 1,000 times in their day.
Here's Weather Up to Suter, and the power play of the Warriors that Coach Phil said needs to be better. Here's Suter, shot into the midsection. Wilson will make the save. Perfect 3 for 3 and killing opportunities was the Athletics. Ball up for grabs here, going to be an 8-second violation against St. Kitts to start.
What a trail check from Lamoureux to knock the stick out of Winarski and then make sure he caused the 8-second violation. What a trail check that was.
Here's Ford down in the corner. Ford, an acquisition at last year's trade deadline, somewhat surprisingly from Peterborough, but was brilliant in last year's playoffs. And again, coming back off injury, you see the big tape on the right kind of calf area. Oh, kind of a loose pass between Winarski and Stainhouse. Ari will give it here back to Jaden Kennedy off the bench. Recognizable in those pale orange shoes. Inside Toll. Being spied here by Zachary Tucker. One of only a handful of graduating seniors on both of these teams, as a triple team will try and pop the ball free after the save from Wilson. Toll looked like he was getting up slowly after taking that check, and guess who comes out of the pile? It's Owen Lee, who has had a monster playoff series.
He definitely has. He's been one of those players all playoffs that if he sees that he can have a matchup, he's definitely going to go. And
6 guys out there for Whitby, and that'll do it for the power play. So as much as Phil Weatherup said, we need to capitalize on their mistakes and minimize ours and have a better power play. How about 0 for 2 as they'll take a substitution minor here.
We always talk about the old saying, Matt. Offense wins you games, defense wins you championships, but mental mistakes will win you national championships. And that's just a key error that Whitby can't afford to make. And it's going to be Ryan Proctor serving it, so that will negate the power play. And once Rose comes out of the box, it's going to be the Athletics that have about 1:40 to work with. And here's Bucktooth.
On the outside, Lee on him as you would expect. Behind the back, draws the oohs and ahs from the near capacity crowd here at Iroquois Park.
That was a nifty move from Bucktooth to get underneath a defender such as Lee, who we just talked about, and didn't have to worry about to go BTB.
Shows you why he entered last year's draft early and was selected by the Mammoth. Here's Suter from outside the restraining line towards the corner. Jumping the route was Reeve Stainhouse, the younger brother of Ari and Ty, who will be in this year's draft. Ball going to roll up to Simon Marshall. And, of course, son of Hall of Famer Mark Stainhouse. Congratulations to him and the rest of the class, which includes Gavin Prout from these parts. Power play is on here for St. Catharines. Minute left. Up top, Lucas Rose on to Bucktooth. Faking. Shoots past 2 players. And Bucktooth will score on the power play somehow.
Not sure how he even had enough to shoot at, as that's definitely Isaiah Paul that comes down, and then there's Errol Booth. He's doing everything he can to make sure Ryder Haynes can't jump in front of that and somehow gets that in past Cooper Wilson. That's a power play marker. Athletics are 1 for 1 on theirs, and it's Pilon and Urbach back at the faceoff dot.
Jamison Bucktooth scoring both goals for St. Catharines here. And then Sutter Pilon forced back over the timeline for an over and back violation.
Talked about these two teams being even matched. They're even through faceoffs right now, 2-2.
There you go. Told you. Stewart on the doorstep. Couple of fakes working through. Ball carrier, I believe that was Ford, ran through the crease, so legal now to touch it, but wasn't initially. As Weatherup gives back here to Monders. Cam Monders outside has Ari Steenhouse in his face. Defender goes down, ball went over to the top, and eventually bounces back over the center line. As we cross the center mark, or get ready to here in the first. 2 goals for St. Catharines on their first 5 shots. 1 for 8, Whitby in the opening 10. Little head fake into the corner for Blake Berard. Up to Bucktooth, pulls it down. Pass back in Kennedy's direction, up for grabs. The captain Toll. Big high step. Just missed as it clanks off the back wall. Races on for it with Evan Barrett getting there first and scores in transition. So not only the power play needed to be better, Phil Weatherup said also transition, and Barrett obliges.
Heads up play from Evan Barrett. So here's what happens. Toll is going to shoot the ball. It's then going to be the Athletics player Kennedy racing off. That allows Barrett to run down, and he picks that up and just beats Ty Wilson and Levi Rose coming in off the bench. But that all starts with Barrett recognizing that Kennedy goes to the bench, and that leaves him and Ryder Haynes all alone to go down 4 together.
I think some of those A's players may have thought that the whistle was going to go, but Andrew Ecclestone kept the play on going and allowed Barrett to run into that ball and take it in. Tying the game here 2-2. Suter working back in again off the face-off wing from Urbach. All the way to the far side. No shot Lamoureux this time. Suter does, and caught there by Wilson. Still has 1 more year remaining. I thought all season he was a grad for sure, but part of that big Oshawa, big St. Catharines draft about 4 years ago, which included Tucker Williams being the honorary first overall pick. All the way across to his buddy Zachary Toll on the crease. Rozon back to Booth, shot off Wilson.
Good ball movement there from St. Catharines. Getting the look, swinging the ball very well, but Wilson able to keep his eyes on that one and track that one through a similar 2-3-4 body screen.
All the way outside, spin move. Lamoureux can't get free of Andrew Scarlett. The big moving screen up top. Levi Roast blown up by, I believe that was Reith Hewnuck. Here's Ari Steenhouse for Bucktooth. Working his way ever closer to the crease, and that shot, when he takes it sidearm around the defender, looks like he's going to end up in the corner, but the one he scored with obviously ended up in the back of the net. That one didn't miss by much.
We're going to get a delayed call coming here. I believe it was in front of the change box near St. Catharines. So Cooper Wilson to the bench, 6 on 5 for Whitby, 10 on shot clock.
Ford from the corner, up to Weatherup, races on for this ball, close to the center line. Weatherup can only throw it back over his head, and now Monders gets up saying he was hit a little low. Official will talk to the A's defender, and we'll get the delayed penalty.
I think it's going to be a slashing infraction here coming to number 33, that's Blake Berard. So Whitby went 0 for 1 on the first power play because they took a penalty which negated theirs. So this will be their second one, with Suter going to quarterback it from the top, along with Weatherup, Monders, Stewart, and Lamoureux.
Ford and Suter right now playing catch. They'll look to Stewart. Back up top, Suter back. Here's Monders getting the pass from Weatherup. Shot in there, rebound, rolls out of the crease. Picked up here by the Athletics. Sutter Pilon jogging across center, stopped just outside of the restraining line. Booth to Bucktooth. Now Isaiah Paul slowing it down, wants to get it to the far boards. Bucktooth pops out of the pile over the top. Got shoved into the back of Urbach and had to double clutch on his shot. Second one only can boom off the pads of Wilson. Here's Ford. In the corner, oh, quick shot. Lamoureux thought he had room near the post by the left foot there of Ty Wilson, who wasn't ready for the shot. Still made the save, though.
If you see the window, you might as well take it. Not sure if Lamoureux was thinking it or if he just saw it and said, I'll take it and see what happens.
Rozon in the corner. He'll elude the first defender. Tries the Bucktooth style shot that bounces wide of the net. And then with the shot clock going, teams change up. Perhaps a little chop from Kennedy to Ryder Haynes.
About 10 seconds remaining on the Athletics minor to Berard.
Ball through the front of the crease, brought down by Weatherup. Now in the corner again, Monders. Penalty has expired. Whitby went 0 for 3 in that first game. Now 0 for 2 here tonight. Weatherup back across to Suter. Shoots there off the shoulder of Wilson and up out of play. Monders from the corner. Weatherup. Outside Ford on his toes. Got past the defender, but peeled wide outside of the crease. Shot there, picked up Ford over top of the net, still bouncing around by the crease. And somehow stays out as it's picked up by the defense.
Well done by Ty Wilson. How did he make that save on his knees, not even looking, just threw the stick out, and somehow, some way, that just hit him. Across the floor now, there's Booth.
He'll bring it all the way back to Bucktooth. Had eyes for the corner, which was there, but Wilson stands tall. Have it skip to the far boards.
Steinhaus is going to go for a change.
Paul motioned him off the floor as Meridian comes in with speed. Toll's shot. Missed chest wide, brought back down. Paul to Toll. They continue to circle the righties around the screen. Meridian scores! Trent Meridian, one of just 5 graduating seniors for this A's team in the lineup, will give the A's the lead once more.
Right idea between, so look at the 3 defenders here from Whitby. There's Tucker, you got Urbach here on Toll, and then James Jemnit. He's unfortunately going to get picked, which allows Meridian to step around, and when he gets enough time and space, Corey Small told us earlier in the season, Meridian just has a cannon, and he just let that one unload right past Cooper Wilson.
I did see a comment earlier in the YouTube chat. Why don't teams just lock down Bucktooth? Let's let this face-off take its course with Lamoureux, but you did see them do that behind the net, and you can see all the floor space that it creates. So, yes, you can lock off Bucktooth, but there are other weapons on this A's offense. Max Weatherup through the middle. A little bit of a drag shot. Stewart one-hand pickup. Tracy's got it inside the line to Blake Mason. Shot there, and Wilson had to go off him and up out of play. Little action between Weatherup and Pilon as that one hit the rafters. Takes a pretty severe shot to get it into the rafters here at the high ceiling IPSC main pad. Suter had eyes for the crease. Will go back to Weatherup, back door on his wrong side though. And it just bounced into the corner where Lamoureux picks up, but this will be the third. Reset of the shot clock on this offensive set. Weatherup to Suter. Closing in on 3 minutes left here in the period. Suter stumbled. Back Weatherup's way. Tried to split the defense, couldn't do it. Nice pickup onto the crease. Nifty little move as well. And Wilson well aware as to all of that.
Well done by the Athletics defense with Winarski, Stainhouse, Pilon out there to ensure that Whitby doesn't score after they were out there for almost a minute and a half on 3 straight possessions.
Here's Rosen, bounces it in. Caught Wilson leaning the wrong way. So after his defense stops that big offensive set, Lucas Rosen will bounce one in.
Let's see Cooper Wilson a little bit off his post. Great job by Jack Moores, but just there was more than enough room there to get the bounce shot to go, and he's pretty happy with that one.
Goalies will get a chance to take a water break. We get a chance to remind you that game number 3 of this series is tomorrow night down in St. Catharines, Canada Games Park. Why not drive down and check out the Falls in the afternoon and check out the Junior A Finals at night, 8 o'clock start time. Lucas Arger will be there, as will the JVI Sports Network. Will it be a 2-0 lead for St. Catharines, or will we be all tied up? Will be the question we'll answer in about an hour and a half. Be sure you're subscribed here to the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League YouTube channel, where we'll take you all the way through here in the Ontario portion of the road to the Minto. Ari Stainhouse circles the crease. Still with it. Over top of the set to Bucktooth. Patrick O'Farrell thought it was coming his way, but he'll head off. Rosen, the latest goal scorer, back to Bucktooth. Already on hat-trick watch here in the first period. Shoves off his man. Shot clock sounds. Bucktooth stunned.
Thought he had way more time. He didn't realize that Ari Steinos had used half of it by the time the offense got out there, and Whitby will look to stop this 2-goal run here from the Athletics.
The shovel pass from Weatherup to Ford. Far side. Across the top. Weatherup couldn't bring it down. 2 on nobody. Developing here for the Athletics, who will score again. Simon Marshall making a 3-goal run.
Hunick gets stripped, and then Whitby defense just caught changing, and Marshall goes right over the shoulder of Wilson. Top corner. Perfect placement from the defender. You can feel towards the end of this first period that the momentum is starting to go in the direction of the Athletics. Here's a draw win for the Warriors.
Need to get it across center, though, as Lamoureux stumbled up and just did. Not so in the eyes of the Athletics coaching staff. Lamoureux getting worked over in the middle here. Officials paying close attention to him and Reef Stainhouse as Ford has it. Suter back to Lamoureux. Ford chasing it down in the corner. Stewart in there as well. Matthew Ford with it. Takes a shove. Headed back to the crease now. Step on his man. Couple fakes as he came through. Couldn't play back after the rebound, though. And it comes back Ford's way. Over the shoulder. Oh, my goodness. Matthew Ford, welcome to the OJLL final.
How's that for your first goal that you haven't scored since July the 8th? You see him cut, gets the shot off, Wilson with a great save, and then I love this play from Monders. Makes sure that the ball stays down on the turf. Ford then picks it up, absorbs the contact, and over the shoulder, as Jake Elliott would say, clip it! Because that is a highlight reel goal from Matthew Ford here to stop the bleeding of the Athletics. And they may get another one here as we approach 30 seconds left here in the opening period. Nice job by Urbach as he's going against Paul on this draw.
Comes back to the Whitby
And they're
crease.
going to get it, and they'll call timeout immediately.
Yeah, you knew whoever was going to win that faceoff was going to get the timeout call, but Matthew Ford, missing the better part of a month, came back, had a bit of a struggle in his first game.
Let's take a look at that goal again.
But then does this.
So Ford is going to cut, and Suter's able to find him. It's then Monders that comes over and knocks the stick out of Teone Galante, which allows the play to continue. Ball's on the turf. Ford picks it up. You then see Pilon, and I believe that was also Jared Cook, come in. And those two try to strip Ford, but he just says, I'll go behind the back, over the shoulder. And Ty Wilson never saw that one at all.
6 straight YouTube comments that are just basically one word to describe that shot. Matthew Ford impressing fans coast to coast here in Canada in front of most of the Ontario lacrosse community and, of course, international viewers as well. Tremendous goal to pull it back within 2 and perhaps 1 year outside of the timeout. Called here by Phil Weatherup to end this period. Cooper Wilson is on the bench. Shot clock is turned off. Cam Monders just inside the restraining line. Has Ford to his right, Weatherup to his left. Lamoureux and Proctor through the middle. Scissored screen back to Weatherup. Shot in the feet. Monders couldn't pick it up. Took a heavy hit though. Lamoureux's shot hits a defender. And the period ends without further incident. A big run again, though, from the Athletics. Gave them the lead, and then a highlight reel goal from Matthew Ford to make it look maybe better than it was for the Warriors.
Definitely. Athletics started to get the momentum towards the end of that first period as they scored 3 goals in about a minute and 45 seconds, if I can do my math on that, Matt. But they seem to find the offense going. That's what both head coaches talked to us about in our pregame meetings. St. Catharines, they got the offense going the second and third. They wanted to keep that going. It resulted in 5 goals here for them in the opening 20. For Whitby, started to lose their footing a little bit in that middle stages of that period, but able to get one back on a highlight reel goal from Ford. And both goalies looking pretty good right now. Had a couple lapses, but it's definitely pretty even here after 20.
In game number 1 from the first period on, it was 6-1 for St. Catharines. That's how they took their 1-0 series lead. We'll see if the second period remains the same or if Whitby can come back here on home turf. We're at the Iroquois Park Sports Centre in the OLA Festival for the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League Championship Final Series. Game number 2, period number 2, comes your way in 9 minutes. Back here in Whitby, Iroquois Park Sports Center, as the Athletics make their way back onto the floor after a 5-3 first period and big run near the end. Here's what it looked like, Lucas.
Starts with the first goal from Jamison Bucktooth. His first initial shot went wide, but still cut through the middle and able to take a pass from Errol Booth and beat Cooper Wilson. Here was a good opportunity from the Warriors, but Ty Wilson able to get a stick on that. Here's another opportunity. Matt Ford tried to go airborne. Wilson keeps that one out, and I love this flip pass right here. Matt Ford sees Lamoureux coming in down the middle, but he's able to stop him, or that was Wilson. Here's the first goal from Whitby. Bryson Lamoureux rips that one from the outside. Ford and Mason seal off in Ari Steinhaus, which allows him to rip it. Here's the other goal on the power play. Look at the seal that Errol Booth sets on Ryder Haynes, even though he's jumping all around. I don't know how Booth was able to find that one. Great opportunity from Ford here. Not something that Whitby did a lot of. Able to get a good opportunity, but not able to bury them until this play. Initial shot from the Athletics goes wide. Evan Barrett then chases it down as he noticed the Athletics player running off, and he beats Ty Wilson. Errol Booth with a good chance in front, but Cooper Wilson keeps that one out. Love this save. How does Ty Wilson even know where that shot is coming from as he's down on one knee, throws the stick up? And then here was the third goal from the Athletics. Good ball movement. It then gets its way over to Trent Meridian, and that's a low-to-low shot that beats Cooper Wilson. Down at the other end, Bryson Lamoureux tried to throw one too many fakes past Ty Wilson. St. Catharines kept the blood running as their hashtag is Bleed Blue, as that was Lucas Rozon that scored that one. And then this one was a bit of a tricky one for us, Matt, because we saw that the strip came and then Whitby unable to get their defense out there, so Simon Marshall runs the length of the floor. And then here's the over-the-shoulder goal that we had from Matthew Ford. Loose ball in the turf, he finds it, and he's going to go all the way around to beat Ty Wilson on that one. And that's where we stand. So a 5-3 lead for the Athletics. And that's another draw win for Sutter Pelon, as he's up to 4 on our stat sheet.
Collision at the center line between Lee and Bucktooth. We'll give it here to Jack Moores and the Warriors. Wanting to start on the other side of center, though, so Moores and Haynes head off in favor of Ford. 5 goals off just 9 shots showing officially online. 3 off 17 for Whitby, trying to get one quick here as it's stopped by the Athletics. Asked both coaches what the difference was between the first and second in game number 1 as Bucktooth shoots again and completes his hat trick. Interrupting what the coaches told us, but feels like it could be one of those nights for number 44.
When he gets hot, it's very hard to cool him down, and you see it on this play here. Just good transition work, good changes. Bucktooth got caught on defense, and then he comes up, takes the pass from Booth. Just that side arm, kind of goes 5-hole on the bounce shot. So the lead is now doubled at 6-3 for St. Catharines.
They've credited Errol Booth online. It should definitely be Bucktooth from Booth, but I'm sure they'll fix it for Bucktooth's hat trick. As now Tyone Galante comes down with the face-off. Running around in the offensive zone. It'll roll Wojnarski's way. And back towards the corner, Meridian looking around for somewhere to pass, finds no option. Keeps it to the crease, shoots. And for Dan Coates, after the first period of game number 1, said it was just, they challenged their guys to be better. Didn't think they played to their potential in the first period. And for Phil Weatherup, told us a couple times in our pregame chat that the little things make the difference in these games where teams are this tight and evenly matched. Rising shot there from Ford from the outside. Wilson saves it off his defender, back to the crease.
Whitby thought that was back in, as I believe that bounced off of Patrick O'Farrell and back in the crease, but play on, says Kyle Krotman, who's the lead official down there.
On the run, Toll can only bounce it off the shoulder of Cooper Wilson, but does get the reset. Looks back to Bucktooth. Has been the hot hand tonight. Tries to shoot past the defender once more. Save by Wilson again. Tucker up to Toval. 2 of the 3 grads on this Whitby team. Only 3. What did you say, 10.08s?
Roughly on this Warriors roster. A lot of young guns, a lot of rookies. That's another rookie there in Monders, who gets pushed into the St. Catharines crease.
Big entry draft as well for Whitby this year. And had all their picks, I think had 4 of them in the 2 rounds, and had them all play early. Lamoureux's shot may have been a pass to Monders. Hit Pilon in the back. Comes back to the left side, this time Stewart. Monders in behind. Little flip pass back to the crease. Ford was there. Bypasses him. Lamoureux with it. Pilon taking over. Lamoureux stops up, turns and fires. Ty Wilson made the catch down low.
When you're in those situations that it's late in the shot clock and the defense is pressuring, you just got to take it to the net, and that's what Lamoureux did really well right there on that play.
Meridian down towards the corner. Bucktooth jogging it out. Has Rozon off the bench, puts his man on skates, and then gets called for the moving screen. Either that or the push-off, but takes the ball away.
You rarely see that call, but in that one, it was the right play, as Rozon dropping the shoulder is okay. It's when you have the extension or the push-off in this case, and that's why that play was whistled dead, and here's Suter with it.
Pass to the cutting Mason, missed. Ball out of the corner on the run. Here's Stainhouse. Jared Cook in front of him. Ari Stainhouse going to take it himself. Cracks it off the throat guard, and the official over to check on Cooper Wilson. Looks to be okay. Pass up to center. Tucker with it. Compare 3 grads on Whitby to 5 in the lineup for the Athletics. That includes backup goaltender Mason Robertson. Not what we're used to seeing in the OJLL finals. Usually double digits. As a bouncer back towards center, Lamoureux got it past the defender, then accidentally on purpose kicked it away after losing his stick. Bench wanted to delay a game call, but official's not going to make it. Bucktooth in the corner. Works around a couple screens to get off his proper side. Hard shot off the low boards. It goes over and back. And St. Catharines back out.
Whitby needs to find a way to get on the inside. They don't have to score, but they have to let St. Catharines know that we're not just going to shoot from the restraining line all night, and it starts with good off-ball movement. That's another good... Ooh. I thought that crossed the line on that one, Matt. How did Ty Wilson knock that one out to the side?
Very close there in the crease. As Weatherup did put the spin move on his defender to get to that orange turf, just as you were asking him to do so. Stainhouse to Toll. Ari will leave as Meridian crosses the floor. Rozon. That blue ankle tape all the way back across for Toll. Kicked out by Owen Toval, who was on the other side of this matchup in the finals last year. Dressed as an AP for the Orangeville Northmen. Trade deadline acquisition from Elora in this his grad season. Lamoureux. 2 Whitby offensive players collided with each other. Looked like on the far side. Lamoureux gets it back. Pulls it down and scores. Got past the high defender. walked in between two more and beats the goaltender as well.
So we talked about it in the first period. He might have thrown one too many fakes when he was on top of the crease. This one he throws just enough. Throws the face dodge, gets by his defender in O'Farrell, and then the slide from Reef Stainhouse just a little late, and he beats Ty Wilson on a nicely placed shot. And if we see the hometown fans are loving it, as we got some of the U9 players twirling their shirts around. If we can get a shot of that over to our left.
Well,
we got the two Wilsons right here at the bench right now.
Across the floor, we've had about the same age group from St. Catharines doing the same. Towel crew, t-shirt gang. I mean, games are over. You can hop up on whatever you like now.
We also want to give a shout out to both Whitby and St. Catharines' U17 teams, Matt, coming off a appearance and trip to the Ontario Summer Games at the U17 boys level this past weekend in Kitchener. Very hard to make Final Six, let alone in a Summer Games year. So Congratulations to both of those teams and those squads for representing their cities at Final Six in Kitchener.
So if you were sick of this rivalry, well, got bad news for you, as a lot of these players played against each other at the festival coming up and are doing so here in back-to-back years in the playoffs. A beauty series in the semis last year between these two. And Bucktooth, little twisters he worked in on Urbach, got it off Wilson. You know, I talked to a coach who's here tonight, not associated with these two teams, but he said, you know, it is hard to play in this building, but a lot of these teams have played in this building and are familiar with this turf because they've come through the festival. They've played against Whitby. So if anything, it should be an advantage for opposing players, but it really isn't. As that wild shot missed, Mason's bouncer doesn't get there on time. And it'll be a shot clock violation. And then you go through a draft and you got guys like Zachary Toll and Ty Wilson who end up on the other side of things. Here is Toll. Had eyes for the corner, a shrug of the shoulder from Cooper Wilson, keeps it out.
We're going to get a penalty coming here, as I believe Barrett was knocked over, and I believe I saw the official pointing to Pelon. So we'll get a delayed penalty coming here. Cooper Wilson to the bench, Matt.
And 6 attackers on with only 8 to shoot, though. Ford keeping here from the outside. Faked it, toe drag. Wilson went down. Shot went high, but not high enough. As now Whitby will go to their third power play of the game, looking for their first goal.
So I thought it was Pelon. It was the other guy standing beside him in O'Farrell. He's in transition. Going to be an illegal cross-check infraction. So you said it, Matt. Whitby 0 for 2 on their first power plays in the first period. They'd love to get one here to bring the crowd to its feet again.
Well, and especially with the struggles they had back in game 1 that we've already talked about, and so did Phil Weatherup. He mentioned the power play about 3 times in our pregame chat. We only asked him about it once. As Suter shoots here off the defender. You can often tell what a coach is thinking of when they bring up things over and over again, and often uncoerced.
What a great trail check from Suter there. Back the other way. Here's Weatherup.
In alone on Ty Wilson. The fans are cheering because it's in.
Maybe not the power play that they wanted to draw, Matthew, but they're not going to care as it's in the back of the net. You saw Weatherup picking Suter on the play. His shot whistled wide, and then the Athletics go back in transition. What does Suter do? Keeps the trail check going. We saw Lamoureux do it on a man advantage. Now Suter does it. finds Weatherup, and he goes top corner. You see Brandon Heston signal the reset, then he jacks his arms up. Why? Because it goes off the knob of Ty Wilson and across that line. Power play marker for Whitby, their first of this series. Here comes Aiden Erdbach with another draw win. First of the period for number 19.
First power play goal of the series for the Warriors comes just about a minute out from the halfway mark of game number 2. Here's Weatherup again. This time they keep them all alone with Reeve Stainhouse on the far side. Big swim move to the crease, looking low. Kicked out by Ty Wilson, but what a move from the bright red shoes of Max Weatherup.
Holy cow. I'm not sure how he was able to get around Stainhouse with the amount of defensive pressure he was giving him, and then tries to go airborne.
Jaden Kennedy outside in the corner. Playing back to Toll, swarmed as he cut back towards the crease. Bouncer comes back. We had a tie up there on the doorstep and a cross-checking penalty coming here. I'm not sure if it's to Jack Moores or to Blake Berard. They were the two.
It looks to be to Owen Lee.
Oh, so it must have been before the tangle that I was watching in front of the crease. But right off the power play goal, St. Catharines will go to their second.
Converted on their first one were the Athletics in the first period. Off a goal, off a power play marker from, I believe that was Bucktooth on his first one.
Bucktooth to Toll this time, back to 44, quick stick Meridian, just missed inside of Booth. Bit of a no look from Meridian. Bucktooth trying to stay out of the crease, and in the end couldn't do it. Despite contorting his body in midair.
You much of a contortionist, Matthew?
Do I look like it? Absolutely not. Weatherup to Suter. Minute 15 remaining on the power play. Weatherup trying to will this one through yet again. Feels like we're at the point of the game where he's just taking it upon himself to get his team back in this series.
He definitely has. When you feel like your back is against the wall, call on your star players and see how much damage they can do. And I feel like that goal in transition on the power play is what is the spark that the Warriors needed. Now they need another one if they can kill off this penalty here.
Well, nearly got a transition chance as the pass went errant. Tried to force by Bucktooth and wide. Whitby back within one despite that big run early from St. Catharines and despite just being 1 for 3 on their power play. 9 minutes to go here in the second. 6 goals off 17 shots for St. Catharines. 5 off 23 for Whitby. Outside marker Lamoureux. That'll be the 7th of the period for Whitby as it bounced off the toe of Wilson. Lee's penalty about to expire. Peeking at the clock, peeking, and now stepping back onto the turf.
Good kill from the Warriors there. Good pressure that they had, and now they need to get a good stop here, and that will help as Jemmett knocks down Bucktooth to the turf.
You can see Lee, and as he came back, was spying Bucktooth that whole way just in case he got by. Lee was waiting on the outside, a hit right at the end of that play. Again, the fans oohing and aahing here in what is as close as we've seen to a full house.
It's the intensity of the Ontario Lacrosse Festival. We spoke to a couple of players pre-game, Matthew, and they were saying it's not often you get to play during this amazing tournament, so take advantage while you can and feed off that energy.
Suter outside, and just such a celebration of the sport here over the course of the week. Kind of reminds me, I've been to a few Grey Cup festivals. Have yet to get to Super Bowl, but the focus on Grey Cup for now. We just wander around and see jerseys from every team basically represented from all corners of the province, meeting here. Play games in all divisions, including Junior A tonight. There was a Senior B playoff game, and This time a tie-up between Berard and Tucker. Going to end up in a penalty, and it will be to the Athletics.
So
illegal cross check, sorry.
So keep your eye on the middle here. As coming in, there was Berard on Tucker. Officials immediately threw their arms up as you can go in and push your opponent to try and create some space. What you cannot do is cross-check them right in the chin cup, and that's what Berard did right to Tucker. So this will be Whitby's fourth power play, 1 for 3 up to this point. They'd love to get another one here, Matthew, and tie this game up.
No one in the corner as Lamoureux already went to the middle to throw the screen. May benefit Proctor, who came out back again. Another shot there, and did that? I'm not sure if Pilon made the save, was in the crease, and then went back in, did Winarski. What a chance in the early stages of this power play for Whitby to tie it.
Ty Wilson coming out and causing all kinds of trouble.
Weatherup again, loads up the shot, not going to take it. Forced out wide, Galante. Now back to Ford, he'll rip. Chases his own rebound, can bounce it to Proctor behind the net. Weatherup and Suter, the high guys, along with Lamoureux. They go cross floor again to Weatherup. In his sophomore season was fantastic for Whitby this year. Suter, back for Ford, down was Wilson for the save. It will not be over and back. I was going to say it might give a team a chance to change, but nobody goes to either bench. 55 seconds remaining in the power play. Lamoureux. Round is back to the corner. Weatherup away from top spot. Hot pass in Ford's direction. Now Lamoureux shoots straight in. And Wilson made the catch. Pilon was a little bit delayed getting it across there to Berard, but eventually the A's do cross in the allotted 8.
Nice pressure from St. Catharines, enabling their goalie to make the save that he wanted to, allowing him to get the look.
Toll found the cutting Bucktooth, who slammed into the defense. Urbach was in the way of the shot. Ended up blocked and shoving there between Lee and Bucktooth. The series is done. Jameson Bucktooth is going to have nightmares of big number 51. Shot coming through there, Lamoureux.
Berard out of the box now, back to 5-on-5.
Whitby 1 for 4 on their power play, 1 for 2 the Athletics here tonight. Ford looked like he was going to cut right and take that to the crease, elected to pass off. Now Stewart has the same chance, crashes into the defense, still with it, twist shot. Save made Wilson, and he immediately looks down floor into the stick of Simon Marshall. Already scored once tonight, this time will pull up. Out Jaden Kennedy under pressure from Toval. He'll back his way back into the set. Got a screen right in the back is now Kennedy. Far side for Bucktooth, who was all the way out by the boards by himself. Pardon me, this is Lucas Rozon, who steps into a shot. Toll to the wrong side of the floor to chase down the rebound. Penalty coming up here. It's to Whitby. All alone was Bucktooth. Shoots there. Sorry, that was Rozon again. And then Toll grabs the rebound and scores. A lot happening on that set, and it ends with a goal from the St. Catharines captain.
So the delayed penalty was coming, and so you're going to see it there on Reese Hunick as he got Pilon a little too much, and then back the other way. Or sorry, that was Rozon, excuse me, and then Toll able to stay on it, cuts right to the middle, gets his hands straight right past Ryder Haynes, and he's able to beat Cooper Wilson. But a good extra attacker goal from the Athletics has restored their 2-goal lead. So it's a little odd when you look at a stat sheet, Matthew, when you see the team leading, but they're not leading in the shot column, as they may be up 7-5, but it's the Warriors that are leading 27-19 at the moment in the shot column. So we are going to stay 5-on-5 as that delayed, or as that goal washes out the delayed penalty. As Urbach and Pilon go back at the face-off dot. Ball loose on the turf, and Winarski had it, and he gets shoved over, so that will go down as a face-off win for the Athletics.
Gordon here off the bench. Meridian passing back to Bucktooth, sliding through the front of the crease. Played up for Owen Lee. Back for Weatherup. He'll play it back. Lee by himself. Ball moving all over the place. Suter with the shot. You know, watching Bucktooth slide in front of the crease there. I was trying to remember the last time had an OJ final where it was all on turf. I think you have to go back to the bubble season in 2021, won by the Athletics. Ford's pass just missed there. Of course, we've had a few with Orangeville over those years. Burlington's been in a couple.
Mimico was in one.
Yeah.
Beaches were in one.
2022, the year that Whitby won the Minto Cup at the CAA Center in Brampton. Here's Bucktooth. Double team will chase him back towards the corner. Back out in front, hard hit there. Laid out by Toval on the crease. Bucktooth calling for it behind the net. Pass is going to get there, but not in time to do anything with the shot clock.
St. Catharines bench not happy with that one, as they think that was a cross-check in the back of the head, or at least on the numbers. And you can hear Dan Coates and Ian Lord voicing their opinions as that moving pick is against Whitby. Might be opportunity in transition for the Athletics.
Berard to Bucktooth. Had to fight through a well-timed stick check. Berard in to pick it up. Now trying to run away from Moores. Lost the ball in the half boards. Flips it behind him to Pilon. Already out there is Kennedy. Waiting for it as we near the final 2 minutes of this second period. Kennedy spins off coverage, shoots down low. Broken stick out there. Whitby picks it up. They've got Urbach in behind everybody. Can he beat his defender? Got there about the same time as Ari Steinhaus, who lit him up after the shot was into the feet of Wilson.
That's what playing a Euro Pro is going to do to you. Tell you how to hit harder, faster, stronger, and Steinhaus let Urbach know that I can hit too.
Here's Toll alone on the doorstep. That shot off of Wilson's shoulder. Got a player through the crease to take it away from St. Catharines. And Toval with it. Off the bench. Picked up here, I believe that's Suter backing into pressure. Was kind of all by himself, so he one-hands it in off Wilson. Outlet pass, having trouble with it. Winarski bounces around in the timekeeper's box.
A little bit of a track meet up and down, some broken sequences over the past few minutes.
Well, and both coaches commented not only on the speed of their own teams, as Ford takes it to the crease again. Rebound going to go out to the far side, but commenting on how fast the other team was as well. Said that this could be a transition battle, could be a speed battle, and again, two very evenly matched teams that kind of play different styles. Rosen. Out across. I think that was intended for Meridian, who was there on the crease but covered. Drops down. Here's Lee. Back across center, the captain of this Whitby team. They did take time out in the first period, so aren't going to do it here with 24 left. It's about 7 seconds, game clock over, shot clock right here. Bouncing ball, got away from Stewart. Still into the stick of Weatherup though. He'll lose it. Now just flipped away for the shot clock. And Dan Coates was calling timeout about 3 weeks before that shot clock sounded.
Yeah, he was. As soon as Weatherup lost that ball, he wanted to call timeout right away.
Can only take one per period, get two per game. Can't take it with you, so I think even the U7s in the house knew that was coming. If you're enjoying tonight, well, guess what? We got your plans for tomorrow covered right here as well. Be sure to subscribe to the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League YouTube channel. If you like this video, leave a comment, share it around. The algorithm will push more games like this, including the rest of the series. Game 4, back here on Thursday. And right now, the rest of the schedule still, if necessary, OntarioJuniorLacrosse.com is where you can get the full schedule. Standing stats and scores from around the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League. RMLL finals are set. Okotoks and Calgary doing battle. I don't think they're Okotoks anymore. Raiders and Mountaineers? Mounties now. I'm old.
So an extra 2 seconds will be added, so 8 seconds, which means Zach Toll is going to have to go quick.
There is an extra attacker, as you would expect, with the net empty in behind the St. Kitts captain. Crosses the hot hand, Bucktooth. High steps the shot, and not sure that's really what was drawn up in that timeout play. Bucktooth deciding to take it to himself with no help, but maybe doesn't need any because his Athletics lead 7-5 here after 2.
2-goal lead for the Athletics after 1, 2-goal lead for them after 2, but they do not lead in the shot column, 31-22 in favor of Whitby, but both teams, the defense really stepped up in that period along with the goaltending. Both Wilsons looking a lot more solid in between the pipes, and the defenses were finding ways to limit their opponents on offense. Transition game was playing a little bit. Whitby able to get a power play marker. We saw Jamison Bucktooth score in transition. So feels like these teams they kind of found their footing there in that middle frame mat, and essentially it is a 2-goal game, but both teams are in the same spot that they were heading into the third period now, either down by 2 or up by 2.
And that third period will come your way in 9 minutes. It's here in game number 2 of the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League Championship Final here at the Iroquois Park Sports Centre at the Ontario Lacrosse Festival. We'll take a 9-minute timeout. Athletics lead by 2 heading into the third. Back here getting set for the conclusion of game number 2 of this best of 7 Ontario Junior Lacrosse League Championship Final Series. St. Catharines leading 1-0 and 7-5 after 2 periods. Here's how the second broke down, Lucas.
Starts with Errol Booth receiving a long outstretched transition pass, leaves it to Bucktooth, who throws a sidearm underhand bounce shot. Never thought I'd be saying those 3 words in the same sentence to get past Cooper Wilson. Great chance here from Moners, but Ty Wilson keeps that out. Here's the first goal of the period for the Warriors. Lamoureux face dodge comes in, and he squeaks that one right past Ty Wilson. Whitby's second goal came off a great trail check from Suter, finds Weatherup in transition, and he goes right where the knob is past Ty Wilson. Some other good looks here from Whitby. Here's Weatherup going to the front. We talked about in the first intermission, Whitby needs to find ways to get to the inside, and that's what they were doing here. Connected on a couple of them, but not a lot. And then the last goal of the period, here's Zach Toll. Great individual effort coming out from the corner, get his hands to the middle, and he fires up the Athletics fans here. There's a big hit right there on Toll from Owen Tubble. Back the other way, big hit from Stainhouse after Urbach's shot in transition. So we're seeing a lot of this now. Both teams are either running in transition or they're getting looks on the inside, but it's hard when you have a Wilson in either net to score on.
For me, the number of goals that were scored off broken plays, transition, rebounds out of the corner, a play that broke down, grabbing a loose ball, turning it into something. Those are the things that, especially Phil Weatherup talked about, taking advantage of what the opposition gives you and not making those mistakes and giving the other team the opportunities is what's going to come down to this third period. And I dare say the rest of this series as well, that's as tightly matched as we would have expected. 2 goals off 13 shots in the second for the Athletics, who were 0 for 1 on power plays. They're 1 for 2 through 2 periods. 2 for 14 for Whitby. They were 1 for 2 in the period for a 1 for 4 power play score through 2 periods. And the third already underway. Matthew Carrick alongside Lucas Arger in the JVI Sports Network. Here for game number 2 of the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League Final Series. Whitby going right to left in this final stanza. Big high step by Jack Moores as he crosses over center. Back behind, Ford has the ball. Faked it there to Weatherup. We'll play it down to Lamoureux on hat-trick watch on the outside boards. Weatherup back and forth. On with Reef Stainhouse for Ford. Back towards the corner. Big tie-up in front of the crease as that ball came through at the tail end of the shot clock. Allowing Ari Steinhaus to break out with it. Errol Booth across to Kennedy. Kennedy's shot handled there by Cooper Wilson. Picked up from the far boards. Now Bucktooth has it. Right near that face-off dot. Kennedy down for Booth. Bucktooth wanted to pass the whole way. Finally gets it. Kennedy smashed up in the face mask. Penalty going to come to Zachary Tucker as the ball gets away here from Rozon. And an early power play chance for the Athletics to perhaps add another one to this lead.
Whitby bench asking what for, and we'll see it here.
Oh, I think it'll be obvious
on
if we caught
the
it.
replay. So if you take a look at 77 in the middle.
Right
yeah,
there.
it's a little too high for the officials' likings. 1 for 2 are the Athletics up to this point on the man advantage. Their third power play. They've had one every period.
Oh, a nifty little no-look pass from Booth on the far side, trying to find Rozon cutting through. Guess Rozon gets it again off the reset. Bucktooth. Rozon bouncer. Wilson saves it. Lee can only knock it back down to the turf where it bounces Rozon's way. Toll. Rozon behind his back, Bucktooth. To the crease, quick stick is in. Errol Booth has been the setup guy 5 times tonight and will now add a power play marker.
Ball movement is what you need on power plays, and Bucktooth does this so nonchalantly. Look at the pass he takes from Rozon behind the back, and he's looking. Yeah, flip it over to Booth, back door. And he's able to bury that one on the man advantage.
So 3 goals from Bucktooth. That'll be his first assist. Arrow Booth has 5 assists tonight. 4 assists for Rozon. And a 2-for-3 power play for the Athletics. More importantly, perhaps, an 8-5 lead in the early stages of this third period. Proctor. First Suter. We remind you the series heads back to St. Catharines tomorrow. Game number 3. Suter and the Warriors would love to be there. All even up and not down 2-0. Weatherup shot bounced out of the corner. Takedown there, and penalty coming up to Whitby. Probably going to be a trip. One official had a hold, one had a trip, but they both had a call.
Keep your eye on number 33, Bryson Lamoureux, as comes for it and tries the wrap check again. But officials are going to say that was an infraction.
Cooper Wilson wants a quick squirt of water before coming in for this power play that just saw a goal from Arrow Booth. Let's make it 8-5. Whitby want to keep this within reach. And the way that Ty Wilson and the St. Catharines defense have been playing is 4 goals considered within reach. Toll to Bucktooth. Outside shot hits something on the way through. Took momentum off it, allowing Hayes to pick up. Hayes down the far side, fighting through slashes. Takedown here. Lee couldn't get it. Neither could Moores. Moores and Lee. Off the bench is Weatherup. Max Weatherup lowers his shoulder, crashes in. Out from the outside. Hit there, and then Bucktooth shoved down. He was the defender back on Weatherup. Kennedy takes a hard hit, and him and Lee cross center together. Phil Weatherup still talking to Andrew Ecclestone, I believe, about the penalty call to Lamoureux that's got 55 seconds left in it. Bucktooth posturing up. There for Toll, down low. 2 back on the shot clock. Bucktooth just got it off in time. Now Meridian, looks like he stopped when he heard the siren. Didn't go after the loose ball initially. Beat his defender, gets through with the ball. What a job done by Trent Meridian.
How do you beat 1-on-2? Just watch what Meridian just did.
Bucktooth back across Booth. Another little nonchalant pass back across the floor. Bucktooth back up top. Meridian backing away. Rozon to the back of the net. The ball is just moving way too much and way too precisely for the Whitby penalty kill here tonight.
It is, and Phil Weatherup's not happy. You see him talking to Andrew Ecclestone right now, but look at this ball movement. Finds its way into Rozon, Toll, and Booth were involved in it. Bucktooth was as well. Meridian on a great loose ball recovery play. The lead is 4 for St. Catharines.
Up 9-5 here. Remember, it was a 4-0 second period. Actually had a 6-goal run at one point. Back in game number 2 after being down 3-1.
We're going to get delayed.
Coming up here.
Cooper Wilson to the bench.
It was Weatherup that got pushed out wide, I believe, by Ari Steinhaus. Extra attacker is on. It's Lamoureux. Giving across here to Weatherup. Back in front to Ford. Quick stick. Wilson catches it, but Whitby going back to the power play and eventually keep giving this power play chances, and they will break through. This will be number 5 tonight.
Watch Weatherup coming in. That's going to be a cross check to the side of the helmet, so that's going to be a penalty coming.
Illegal cross check against Tyone Galante. What a season he's had defensively for the Athletics. Weatherup, Suter. Him and Ford playing catch. Matthew Ford to Monders, no quick stick. Suter, Weatherup. You can see the St. Catharines box not letting the shot go through. Ty Wilson getting up slowly as he got stuck there going off to his left. Bit of an awkward moment in the crease of St. Catharines. Keep your eye on number 48. Maybe hold your breath, Athletics fans. Play whistled back in. He says he's good. Weatherup setting the screen for Suter. And if you're Whitby, after you see that, you want to get him moving. Maybe they will here with Suter coming in one on nobody and scores. After the ball was up for grabs, it'll be Matt Suter.
Broken plays is what results in goals. So that was a great knockdown from Proctor. Suter comes in right across the crease. He actually goes off the post, off Wilson, and in. I'm not sure if you could ask Matt Suter to do that again twice if he tried. But it results in a goal. Deficit is only 3 if you're the Warriors.
Face-off going to be controlled by the Athletics, though. That'll improve the power play to 2 for 5 here tonight for Whitby. All the way outside. Blake Berard with room to work. Fired it far side, nearly out of the reach there of Booth. Rosen. Back away from the screen, got the shot from the side of the net, then takes an extra couple cross checks from Owen Lee right in front of the official, let them all play through. Haynes to Monders. Off the bench far side is Trayson Stewart. Now Suter has it, has a lane to the net as well. Last minute shove from Pilon might have upset the shot. That was headed 5-hole. Galante, after taking the penalty, in through to Bucktooth. Screen set in front of him. Still trying to work it free. Bucktooth spins off his man, gets shoved out wide. Justin Hewitt continues to stand his ground. Picked up, shot there. Wilson having to deal with Isaiah Paul in by his shin pads. Bucktooth taken down at the top of the set.
It's going to be a crease violation call against the Athletics as Paul landed in the crease.
And now Max Weatherup has it in the corner. Over the top. Three Stainhouse on him. It goes to Lamoureux. Mason will set the screen. Lamoureux back for Mason. Picked it up. Wilson had gone for it. Then a hit from Proctor into the back of Jared Cook. Thought there might have been a call there. Could have made an excuse for another one, so all even as ball picked up by St. Catharines and run over center. Reef Stainhouse with it all by himself, taking on 2 defenders, including Hewitt, pardon me. Back to
That's going to be a penalty coming here. That's going to be against the Athletics here as great job by Hewitt as Berard is going to go to the box. He's not happy about it. So take a look what he does here. So here's Hewitt, number 4 in white. Then there's Berard as he just gets his stick underneath the arm of Hewitt and drives him into the boards. So that's going to be a an illegal cross-checking infraction. This is Whitby's 6th power play of the game, 2 for 5 up to this point.
Feel like we're at a point in the game where momentum and energy has all been on the side of St. Catharines, starting to shift. Not going to say it's all the way on Whitby's side, But if they get one here and get this crowd back into it, as Ford is trying to now, and does, through the splitsing Ty Wilson, takes all of 17 seconds, and maybe Whitby does have control of this game right now.
Well done by Ryan Proctor. You saw that the defense was starting to shift towards Ford. So here's Weatherup. He's going to give it to Proctor. That's when Ford is going to move down. You see the penalty kill go towards Ford. They drift over to him. So that allows Proctor to walk right out in front and bury that one past Wilson. Ty Wilson, that is. That's a power play marker. They're now 50% on the night, 3 for 6. Urbach and Pilon back at the face-off dot.
I think I said Ford on the goal. It is Proctor on the power play. 9-7. Right now, back-to-back goals. I believe for the first time in the game for Whitby. Pull them back within 2. They did back in the second period, pardon me. Lamoureux and Weatherup together. As Weatherup has it to Lamoureux now here on the floor. Lamoureux to the crease. Full splits. Wilson again. Ball underneath him somewhere. A couple players down in his crease. Remember that play where he got up a little awkwardly? 2 straight goals since. And they've been where Wilson has got moving. Still a minute away from the halfway mark of this final regulation time period. Isaiah Paul. Shot there. Clean catch made by Wilson. He was going to hang on to it. As now we're back to the half wall. Toval shed Zachary Toll and then scampered to the line as they were late in the 8 count. Ford has it here. Out to the outside for Mason. Ford called for the aggressive screen. That took down Reef Stainhouse.
Ford had the right idea, as if that play continued, he would have had a great look at net. Now back here the other way, it's Rosen.
Playing there with Evan Barrett. Passes to the far side, Kennedy. He'll leave it back for Paul after he set the screen. Paul wasn't ready for the pass. Tried to give back to Kennedy. Ended up hitting Hewitt, who's not going to pick up, realizing they're late in the shot clock.
Great IQ play from Justin Hewitt right there. Realizing shot clock is late, gets it on the turf, and then just rolls it around, enabling St. Catharines to not pick it up. And here's Weatherup. That one flies. That's a good pickup right there from Jared Cook. Weatherup had the look, just underhand went a little too high over the crossbar. As we're now under 10 minutes here.
Next shot from St. Catharines will be number 30 on the evening. Meridian. Lee closed the distance with such speed he couldn't do anything with it. Now Lee on Toll, while falling, shoots, did beat the shot clock. Rebound up for grabs in between Toval and Booth. Was taken down there by Tucker. Booth gets back up. Need to cross center. Moores does just that. Next shot from Whitby will be 40 here in the game. Won't come here as the ball gets taken away. Weatherup up on defense in the face of Jared Cook. Paul playing back for Rosen. A couple side steps, big tangle in behind the net. Ball up for grabs, far side. Hewitt handles the loose ball. Someone's broken a stick over on the Whitby side. It gets thrown out of play. And now Lamoureux takes over on the offensive side of the ball. Lamoureux's bouncer. Well wide, going to come back to him again. Had to spin away from Simon Marshall. And Marshall and Lamoureux make their way towards the front of the crease. Didn't get there. A trio of athletics players there, and then takedown ton of whistles. Just going to be possession, at least for now. I think one
now it's
official
like both of them are going to go.
One official was blowing play in, and Ty Wilson all the way up to the scramble to either say something to Lamoureux or the official.
So take a look here. Ball's done. That's where Lamoureux gets shoved to the ground by Marshall, and then you can see Ari Stainhouse coming in. Take a look at the opportunity from Lamoureux right here. Tries to go for the twister, and you can see the ball between the legs, and that somehow stays out. So both of them are going to go for, I believe, dead ball fouls.
Ty Wilson was still looking down the bench. Again, I'm not sure if he was upset with an official or a player, but that conversation continued through the hydration break.
So 8 minutes to go. First time we'll see 4-on-4 action here tonight, and there's Booth with it.
All the way across to Bucktooth. Booth got it off the missed shot. This one does hit the shoulder of Wilson. Rebound comes back out right to Zachary Tucker. Athletics quick to the bench to even the numbers. And Tucker has to turn back away from the crease. Did have a man trailing, but they'll give to Lee. And now 4. Matthew Ford from the outside. Stewart will crash in front of him. Sets the screen, turns it into a pick and roll, goes to the net. Contact with Wilson again. This time just the reset. Wilson again took an extra steamboat to get back upright after the contact from Stewart. Bouncing ball here. Andrew Scarlett turned back away from center. The crowd and the bench wanted the 8-second violation. Stumbling here as Toll plays it into the corner. Blake Berard back across. Toll has it again to the streaking Isaiah Paul. And just missed there. Hewitt crosses the center line. Weather up.
St. Catharines is finding good looks, late in shot clocks on broken plays. That seems to be the storyline here tonight.
Weather up. In front of Suter, they call the moving screen there. Looked like Pilon may have just lost his balance, but gets the call. And Levi Roast will give it to Booth now. 12 seconds, now 10 remaining in the 4-on-4. Again, Lamoureux and Ari Stainhouse. Two penalized players. Rosen winding up, got hit as he shot, may have forced it wide. Just as Stainhouse comes out of the box, Lamoureux unawares, so he's still in. Gonna hop over the boards. And now Whitby's bench gets their warning. Trotman runs by. I don't think that's going to calm Phil Weatherup.
Back to 5-on-5 action here as here's Stewart with it, swings it to Weatherup.
Max Weatherup across the restraining line, being followed there by Stainhouse. All the way into the corner. Pass through the front of the crease was knocked down by Warnarski. Ended up underneath Wilson. A couple shoves from Warnarski and Monders. Getting a little spicy here down the stretch.
It's a 2-goal game with 5.5 remaining. Whitby's looking for the equalizer, and their defense has really stepped up along with Cooper Wilson.
And again, reminder, game 3, 24 hours. Arrow Booth from the outside. Screen set. Pass back to Paul. Didn't get past the big body there of James Jemmett. Him and Lee being the two top defenders does not seem like a good time if you're an offensive player.
Definitely not.
Here's Suter. We go over the top, out to the far side. That cleared a lot of space for Mason. Doesn't do anything with it. Now back for Suter. Under 8 in the shot clock. Suter going to the net. Rebound, scores backside. Was about to say we had a penalty coming as Suter.
Believe that was Proctor. As when Suter was getting held, he tried to shoot. The ball popped up into the air, And on the backside, here's Proctor. So here's 22. Watch Proctor in front of the crease, viewers. Here's Suter. Ball pops in the air. There's Proctor back door. Ty Wilson not even looking. And that goes right into the empty net. And this is now a one-goal game.
Love it when a plan comes together, right? Just as they drew it up. As they say, one-goal ball game.
And you can see the offense of Whitby talking with their coaching staff. Draw by Urbach. It's pulled all the way back, and Hewitt comes in to retrieve that.
Look out here, hard pick stick of the defender. Stainhouse actually left his hands and went all the way down the tunnel. That's Tyone Galante, who's just going to leave the floor without his twig. It's handed to the official, and he'll get it back to the defender. Meanwhile, Weatherup spinning a pass into the corner for Ford, who comes off pressure and ties the game.
Talk about a momentum shifter here in this third period. It was 7-5 entering the third period. It's now 5 goals in the third here for the Warriors. Weatherup gets it over to Ford, comes around the pick from Lamoureux. There's an athletics defender down on the turf. Didn't quite see what had happened. Might have taken a bit of a whack or an elbow somewhere, but or just a occasional set the pick in the ribs and went down the wrong way. But we're all square, Matthew. 9-9, 4 minutes and change remaining.
So it looks like Jared Cook, as the player has gone down the tunnel with the trainer. Remember, there was also Galante, who had gone off without his stick. But Ford ties the game, completing his hat trick in style. 9-9 on the doorstep. Quick shot handled by Cooper Wilson. We're in for one heck of a 3:45 to close this one out. Max Weatherup.
Lamoureux
from the outside all the way across, on the run. Suter down low on Wilson. I think you're motioning me that Ford's only got 2. That's correct. Still had him listed as the one that I incorrectly gave to him that Proctor had scored, but I don't think they're counting him up over on the Whitby bench. They're just happy this thing's all dead even. No look pass, returning it to Bucktooth. Got the shot with his defender. Barrett taking an extra step, and the rebound. Bucktooth getting it back to Booth on the far side. Here's Kennedy. Kennedy for Bucktooth. Bucktooth bypasses Kennedy in the middle to go far side. Booth spinning away from pressure. Pressure follows him to the crease. Back to Paul. Was all alone. Made the move before the catch. And that's going to leave it there for James Jemmett.
Great pressure right there from Evan Barrett, Jemmett, Hewitt. I believe Ryder Haynes was out there as well. If there's one thing this Whitby defense does well on defense, it's pressure, it's suffocation, it's not allowing the offense to breathe.
And now Ford for Suter in front. Andrew Scarlett had to hurdle over top of the fallen Warrior. They do get the reset though. Proctor for Weatherup. Went straight to set the screen. Ford's going to do the same for Mason, far side. Mason to Weatherup with the pass. Outside, pulled down, still no shot. Weatherup turns and fires. Waiting for a rebound in front was Mason. Thought he may have got slashed on the knee. Is discussing with the official. But the ball is clearly in the stick of Blake Berard. Inside of 2 minutes, both coaches with one timeout as we come down the stretch. Outside, Arrow Booth for Jamison Bucktooth. High pressure from Lee, back to Bucktooth to the crease. Lost the ball while going airborne. Lee picks it up and immediately starts it back the other way to Jack Moores.
Well done by Lee to not allow Bucktooth to get any breathing room. Even though Bucktooth went airborne on that, Lee was draped all over his back. Now the Athletics defense wants to replicate the same thing.
with Ryan Proctor onto the crease. Shot there off the shoulder of Wilson. It was Ford cutting through yet again.
60 seconds to go here, Matthew. Both teams have a timeout.
Warnarski off the bench. Bucktooth following. He'll leave it to Rozon in behind him. Jamison, Bucktooth. Booth. Captain Toll. Against the grain, they go to Rozon. Toll picks it up, gets past one, can't beat the second. Kennedy doesn't catch the pass. Jaden Kennedy off the inside of the post, just trying to beat the shot clock. He'll pick up the rebound, fires it over the head here on the near side of Arrow Booth, and as it was being chased down, timeout called here by Dan Coates. The Athletics are going to go for final shot with only 20 seconds left to go.
What a sequence right there. I don't know how that shot was able to get past Wilson and then into the stick of the Athletics. But let's take a look at the run here that the Warriors have had. It starts with Matt Suter as he was able to knock that pass, or Proctor knocked it down, and then Suter scores. Here's Proctor scoring his first of the game, and then here's the second one. Suter draws the penalty, pops right in the stick of Proctor, and he puts that into the empty cage. And then, call it 37 seconds later, Ford around the pick from Lamoureux, far side pass Ty Wilson, and that's where we're all tied up right here.
.9 on the game clock.
Shot clock will be off.
Ty Wilson is in the net to our left. Buckton's going to start with the ball. He's out there with Booth to his left. I believe it's Meridian and Toll down on the far side, and on the near one it's Rozon. They wait for final shot here. Right now, Rozon looks like he's going to do just that. All by himself. 10 left to go here in regulation time. Rozon, the Athletics, trying to win it with last shot. Playing it over for, Meridian. Now Toll. Over top of the head of Jamison Bucktooth. And the play misses, and we're headed to free lacrosse overtime coming up here in game number 2. Sudden victory here in the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League Championship final. Game number 2, all tied at 9 on festival weekend. Does it get any better than this?
No,
I don't think so.
No, it does not. A 4-goal comeback in that third period from the Warriors. They showed it that they could do it in game 2 of their series against Oakville. to take that game, and now they've done it here again in the finals on home turf. Urbach trying to win that face-off, and he does.
So it is going to be sudden victory period here. There is 10 minutes on the clock. If that expires, we'll send them to the rooms and could be in for a lengthy evening. Don't think we're going to have to worry about that, though, although still no reset of the shot clock off this face-off is nearly everybody on the floor battling for it. Trayson Stewart waiting for it to come out of the ruck. Urbach, I think, may have thrown it with his hand.
Potentially, but it's not going to matter. That's going to be a face shot clock violation.
Okay, so Whitby did rule possession off that face-off.
Urbach had it, and he was stripped, and then the scrum ensued.
So now it'll go back the other way. St. Catharines with Toll. Kennedy backing his way in. Toll turns back away from his man. Popping out of the pile was Rosen. No pass. It's Zachary Toll all the way through. Wilson stands up and meets it. Bouncer near side. Gets in behind Reese Hewinuck. He has time to recover and cross center. Weatherup. Trailing him is Proctor. Calling Suter forward for a screen. Didn't see the signal. It'll go back to the left side where Ford gives it to Lamoureux now. Up top, Proctor. Weatherup around the screen. Defender lost his stick. Weatherup went right at him, lost the ball in the process, trying to get rid of it from a bad angle, and the shot clock will sound.
Great defense on both sides for each team's first offensive possession. You can feel the nerves, you can feel the energy in this building right now, Matthew. There's only a handful of St. Catharines fans, but a lot of them are here for the Warriors.
Out in front, quick shot. Through the mess of bodies that were on top of the crease, the ball came out and Wilson saw it. Comes through to Bucktooth. Jamison Bucktooth already with 3. Plays it across. Booth in the corner with Toll. High stepping. Slams on the brakes. Starts again. Giving it here to Rosen. Lucas Rosen around his screen. Long shot misses the mark. 10 to go on the shot clock. Bucktooth thought he had it. Up for grabs. Isaiah Paul couldn't bring it down. Batted down floor by Owen Lee. Picked up and Galante will swing it, who was already out there on defense. Shot clock was always going to sound there against the Athletics. Isaiah Paul headed down the tunnel as he comes off the floor. Blake Mason, Suter, Weatherup in the corner for Monders. Only one who hasn't touched it yet is Lamoureux, setting the screen in front of Mason. Weatherup to the middle of the set. Here's Lamoureux around Mason's screen. Lamoureux fed it through. Mason looked like he was going to retrieve it, then gave up. And then Weatherup fires it into the corner. Shot clock violations on both sides here to open this overtime. Again, there is 10 minutes on the clock, but we are playing sudden victory. Rosen to the corner. Berard through Kennedy. Toll's got it. Brings it down to the crease. Diving. Called in the crease.
Right idea from Toll. He saw Lane, tried to go underneath, but unsuccessful on that play. Here come the Warriors as we've played 3.5 minutes of sudden victory.
Weatherup to the far side, Matthew Ford. Talk about guys who are going to end a game. He could do it at any time. Back for Suter. May have been a moving screen near side. Stepping up to meet the shot was Ty Wilson out of the stick of Matt Suter.
Great save from Ty Wilson as Suter tried to go far side, but can't beat him to win this one tonight.
Bucktooth backing his way towards the corner. Swim move out of traffic. Rosen dumped it there into the crease. We're told before the game, Wilson brothers Cooper and Ty haven't said much to each other this week.
To be expected when you're going up against one another.
With a trip to the Minto Cup on the line. Lamoureux high stepping around Mason's screen. Comes back to Suter. Monders trying to make space for him. 5 on the clock. Suter working his way through. big collision looking for the rebound in the corner. Picked up by Monders over the shoulder, and the shot clock sounds again. That's 4 against the Warriors here in this overtime, and Phil Weatherup wants a holding call.
That's a good job by Monders there. He didn't know how much time was left, so he throws it to the opposite corner to prevent the Athletics from picking it up and chucking it down for transition.
In behind the net. Pirouetting his way free was Arabuth Kennedy. Defender fell in front of him, elected to take the shot. Goes up and out of play, and the officials are going to talk about this. Everyone in double blues saying it hit off a Whitby defender. Whitby not saying anything except holding their breath here.
Whitby thinking it went off of a St. Catharines stick, but they're going to say it went off of white, and it's going to be blue that get it back. We're through 5 minutes here in overtime.
Phil Weatherup not happy with that call that gives it here to Jamison Bucktooth. He'll spin off coverage, shoot around a defender. Looked reminiscent of how he scored the opening goal of this game. Picked up by Lee for James Jemmett.
Great floor vision from Lee to be able to find Jemmett down floor and put it almost in his stick. Jemmett had to reach up a little bit.
Proctor to Weatherup now. Weatherup steps up, sidearm shot, big rebound, comes out. Bypass Stewart into the stick of Reef Stainhouse. Up to his brother Ari. With speed off the bench, Berard. Carries it to the corner. Arrow Booth walking his way in towards the set. Gonna let Isaiah Paul run through. No Jamison Bucktooth out there this time. Kennedy from the corner, under 10 to shoot. Zachary Toll is the high man. He'll spin off pressure around a screen. Well, falling a little twist shot. Zachary Toll slow to get up, holding his face mask. Thought that he was interfered with. It is going to take something monumental to get a call out of these 3 officials here in this extra frame, though.
These defenses have really stepped up in the last almost 15 minutes of gameplay.
Lamoureux's outside shot hit a body in front. Mason taken down out of the corner. Still fighting for it. There is a count down on the floor. Not sure if it's shot clock or if it's against St. Catharines on the 8. Shot clock reset inadvertently, so it sounds against Whitby for the 5th time in this overtime frame. They cannot get anything toward Ty Wilson here so far. Ball to the far side. Rozon cut his way through. Pass will come to the corner. Isaiah Paul working his way out. Shot stuffed in there by Jack Moores. Another one goes errant. Bucktooth faked over the shoulder. Took it for real. Now it's picked up. Rebound in front. Rozon with it in a fresh 30 seconds.
He won that between his feet. Put his stick underneath his foot. Knocked it out and scoops that up.
Kennedy to Bucktooth. Speaking of guys who can finish this at any minute. Rozon. Around Bucktooth's screen. Oh, that one off the glove of Cooper Wilson.
Big hit from Lee along the near boards.
Gonna get the ball and gonna scamper away from Isaiah Paul. The captain all by himself, and Ty Wilson wins the one-on-one battle.
What a great individual effort from Lee. Fans can't even watch, throwing their hands in their faces. This is what you want in overtime in the Ontario Finals.
Think of all the U17s and others who are here in attendance as well. Matthew Ford, little stutter step. Weatherup on his wrong side, gives off to Suter. Outside shot, skips in front of Wilson, off him and up and out play.
Great look from Suter. Maybe not the shot he wanted, but he'll take it as Whitby's going to get the ball back. We've played 8 minutes of overtime.
Matthew Ford for Proctor. Suter set the screen for him. Proctor stumbled as he got knocked down by his defender. Suter out to the far side. Here's Trayson Stewart. Stewart will run it over the top. Fake the shot. Takes it down low. Wilson had it. He's got one breaking out over the head of Ari Stainhouse. He will catch up to it. Bouncing off the end boards, however. 1.5 minutes before we get an intermission break. Back up for Arrow Booth. Bucktooth to Booth, far side Toll, in behind the net. Jack Moores is the defender in the crease, guarding against the dunk try. Toll from the outside, fake the shot, brings it down, taken down in the crease, and Ryder Haynes is up to his old tricks, playing good defense here in the playoffs.
Well done to take down Toll, as we have under a minute to go in the first overtime period. Maunders along the near boards. He's going to leave it here for Weatherup. Mason's alone on an island.
Electing to run it up to the top. 10 on the shot clock for number 10. Weatherup had Proctor wide open, shot wide. Here's Lamoureux with 5 to go. Off the post and back out. Reset Whitby. Tried to swing it maybe a little too quickly to Maunders. And here comes Sutter Pilon running out in transition. In trailing behind is Galante. Pilon drilled there. No penalty coming as Pilon is down. And everyone is screaming here in-house.
What a massive collision there on Sutter Pilon. Shot clock and game clock essentially identical.
Rosen to the crease while falling. Only 5 left in the overtime. It was right there. And Wilson made the save, trying to push Reese Hewitt. There goes the horn. No one can hear it here in the building. But first overtime expires without incident. I believe we have an intermission break coming up before a 20-minute sudden victory, but we will hold all tickets.
So we see Kyle Cropman signaling just 2 minutes for intermission.
Oh boy. Wow.
What a great opportunity from Lee. Here's the one from Lamoureux with about 20 seconds left off the iron. Here's that big hit from Justin Hewitt on Sutter Pilon. Here's the look right at the end. Rosen tried to go underneath Wilson, able to keep the stick right in front of him. So it's going to be another 2-minute intermission. Matt, did we mention that there are some U9 teams here that have to play a semifinal game tomorrow at 8 and 9 a.m.?
Yeah. Bedtime a non-factor here tonight. Well, let me tell you. As this is something special in front of the Ontario Lacrosse Festival crowd. 9-9 these teams have treated them. 9 goals off 52 shots for the Warriors. 9 off just 39 showing in-house for St. Catharines. We've got another overtime period coming up. Again, still sudden victory. Playing next goal wins between 2 brothers who have to sit across from each other at the breakfast table tomorrow morning. And then face each other down floor tomorrow night in 24 hours. So game number 3 from St. Catharines tomorrow night right here on the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League YouTube channel. Before that, we got to settle game number 2. How about Urbach from the Suter to Ford. High step outside. Him and Pilon one-on-one. Outside shot. Lamoureux calls game. Took an extra overtime period and 32 seconds, but Bryson Lamoureux's hat trick wins game number 2 and makes this an even Ontario Junior Lacrosse League final series.
Great opportunities from both teams in that overtime period. And it ends in the way of the home side taking game number 2. You can see the Whitby fans are very pleased with themselves. High fives, fist pumps, hugs, cheering all around as this series is knotted up at once. It all starts with Urbach winning the draw, gets the secondary possession. Ford to Lamoureux, outside rip right underneath the glove of Ty Wilson, and he takes off his glove as Lamoureux as the Warriors bench piles over as they've just tied this series up at 1 apiece.
Somewhere in the pileup, not to take away from this victory, but Owen Toval on that collision came up a little bit limp. We'll see if he can make it for game 2 tomorrow. I'm sure there's going to be ice baths and all that involved. The Warriors win 10-9 53 shots to 39. And it's all even headed to St. Catharines tomorrow night. What a game, Lucas.
What a game indeed. It was a lot of back and forth. We saw track meets at times. We saw good special teams, great defense, some wicked saves on both ends. But it was that 4-goal third period comeback from Whitby that got us to this point, and then it was suffocating defense. We had X amount of number of shot clock violations between both teams, and then just 32 seconds into the second overtime period, these teams are going to be tired. We know that. They just played an extra 11 and a half minutes of lacrosse. But it doesn't matter if you're the Whitby Warriors. If you're St. Catharines, might be a bit of a butter bus ride home, but we've said it all night long. These two teams go at each other tomorrow night at 8 p.m. right back down in St. Catharines.
Be sure you're subscribed here to the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League YouTube channel. This is where you can catch every step to the road to the Minto Cup here in Ontario. For my partner Lucas Arger, our producer Gary Morrison, our director Rachel Wolf, the JVI Sports Network, and the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League, I'm Matthew Carrick saying so long from Iroquois Park Sports Center in Whitby. Your final score, Whitby 10, Athletics 9, series tied 1-1. We'll talk to you tomorrow for game number 3.